As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's bumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Michael Gentry.
Caleb Czarnik.
We are here. Another great Saturday morning. I usually don't turn the music on. We don't usually turn the music on to start it. I mean, this getting me fired up. I thought we would change the vibe a little bit here. We'd also do a couple things. I mean, I'm just trying to learn the ropes of this thing here. I got full control of this. What about this right here?
Bang! It's good. We got Caleb in charge of the controls today. It might get a little wild.
Oh.
Whoa.
Doing here, Gentry. We got children watching the show.
Yeah, Booner just checked in. We got to turn that off.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Another great Saturday morning with Crunch Time Sports. Booner in the chat. What up, Phil? Greg, what's going on? Marcus, how we doing? Boone, Caitlin Clark plays basketball today. Good player.
Tight.
Good player. Mike, say something nice to the people watching right now.
Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you have a great Saturday and joining the boys. We got a lot to talk about. We are going to jump in to some things before we get going, but we're going to go over the Lions schedule. We are going to talk Javi Baez.
That wasn't me, dude. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just learning the ropes here on how to do everything here. So
damn it, Caleb.
Sorry,
booed me
that
off
wasn't
the screen.
me. Go ahead though. Sorry.
No, but we are going to talk a little Tigers baseball, get into some top 5 Detroit athletes. We got a lot to go around. We are going to mostly be talking Tigers, picking Caleb's brain. So throughout the show, if you guys have questions for Caleb or anything you guys want to talk about, feel free to drop it.
Hey man, it's a great time to talk some Tigers baseball. And there has been a pattern these past couple weeks. We have gone heavy Tigers, but it's like, how do you not talk about this team? You know, they're an unbelievable. But like you said, you know, we're going to talk some Javi Baez. I want to talk some Jace Young a little bit too. We'll get to that a little bit later. And then to close the show out today, I want to start doing this every week, Mike. We're going to do a top 5 list every week. And this week, we're going to do top 5 current Detroit athletes, because that was a discussion I had, honestly, a good, a couple months ago on Twitter, and I thought it was a good discussion. A couple things might have changed. Hey, shout out Visionary Roar, $2. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for the $2. That's big time right there. Hold on, let me do this.
Do it,
Mike. Let me cook real quick. See,
Pulls up 3-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good. Wins the game at the buzzer.
He's gonna have too much fun with the controls.
Oh wait,
he did it again.
Let me say something about Mike Breen, also one of the GOATs. But before, I want to talk a little bit of golf too. But before we do, speaking of announcers, and I kind of threw a tweet out about this the other day. Can we just acknowledge how great of commentary and color commentary we have here in Detroit? Like, whether it's on the radio, you get Dan Dickerson and Dan Miller, 2 GOATs, and then you get Benetti, George Blaha, and all those guys, and the Jason Benetti and Andy Dirks duo. It's elite. I wish we could have them every game. I do like the other guys that do with Benetti, but I don't know, dude. It's elite.
No, even the Red Wings, Ken Daniels, Mickey Redmond, Ken Cal, like you said, and the Pistons, you still have legendary announcers for them. Obviously, we don't know how long George Blaha is going to be sticking around towards the end of his tenure for sure, but these guys have been legendary forever. And Dan Dickerson, his calls are just unreal. And like the fact that we're being able to see him on television now too a little bit it's a treat. And Jason Benetti, like you said, and Andy Dirks have been phenomenal too. So,
dude, the thing about it too, like with Dan Dickerson and Dan Miller, but we're usually like, sat down watching the game. But for Dan Dickerson, there'll be days, I'll be driving home from work or something, or just in the car doing something. He gives the experience where you're watching the game. And sometimes, before Benetti, I preferred listening to it on the radio with Dan Dickerson. That was before Benetti, though. They're both great, but I mean, just shout out to them. They're the GOATs.
Yeah,
they're the GOATs. But like Mark Blaha, he's a Detroit sports icon.
Absolutely,
he's an icon. But Mike, last night, and I think I don't really know how to feel about this as a Pistons fan. Maybe I guess you could say like makes us feel a little bit better about the loss. I mean, the Knicks just beat down on the Celtics, dude. And I know they're without Jason Tatum, but they played some really good basketball defensively, like that. And I know Booner and Jeff were talking about this on the show. They were literally built to beat Boston. Like all those perimeter defenders they have, they were built to beat Boston. Do you think? Kind of a broad question here. So they're facing Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the New York Knicks can not only go to the championship? Do you think they could win the NBA Finals this year?
I think they can definitely go to the championship. I don't know. I would have to see. I think those juggernauts in the West, no matter who comes out of that side, is just going to be a tough matchup. But I do like their chances in against the Pacers. I know this is going to be a very fast-paced matchup. Teams are going to be going back and forth. I don't think any lead will be safe in the series. It will kind of be like what you've seen from both of these teams, them coming back from these deficits, no matter how late it is in the game, no matter if it's starting at the second half, they're down 20. But I think I'm going to take the Knicks. I think that series will end up probably going 7, to be honest. I don't know. Jalen Brunson he's looking too good in clutch time. I don't know. And obviously you date this back to last year when Jalen Brunson got injured against the Pacers. So you get a little rematch there, but I think I'm taking the Knicks here, Caleb.
Dude, it's going to be a sweet series, I think. And after playing the Knicks in the playoffs, not the biggest fan of that team, but you got to respect how good they are. And Indiana, we all know as Pacers fans, not the biggest fans of them, but dude, that's going to be a really good series, and probably not the series that a lot of people expected going into the playoffs. But another question I have for you regarding the playoffs, we got Game 7 tonight, right? Yeah, we got Game 7, Thunder Nuggets.
That's Sunday, I thought.
Oh, Sunday. Yep, my fault. Sunday, Game 7. Man, I don't know. OKC 8.5-point favorites.
That's actually wild in a Game 7. To be honest, I'm probably pulling for Jokic and the Nuggets, but I did see that Aaron Gordon may miss this game, pulled a hamstring or whatever. But I don't know. Someone else outside of SGA is going to have to show up and have a good game in that Game 7. Obviously, Jalen Williams hasn't had the series that they've hoped for, being the number 2 on that team. But I know Jamal Murray will end up coming up big in that Game 7, and Jokic is pretty much a lock for a triple-double. He's probably going to play damn near the whole game in this instance. So it's going to be tough for a young team like the Thunder in my eyes. The Nuggets have been here. They've been in Game 7s against, veteran teams. They've experienced this before. So
do you think either one of those teams, whatever team makes it out, beats the brakes out of Minnesota? Like by beating the brakes off them, I mean beating them in a 5-6 game series. Like, what do you make of Minnesota?
I think that the Timberwolves, the way their team's built, they would stand a better chance against the Thunder, as crazy as it sounds, them being the 1 seed, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Nuggets would probably win that series in 6.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, Anthony Edwards, he's a killer, dude. He's insane. But there's just something about that team. Like Julius Randle has played pretty good basketball. Seems to be a playoff riser this year, which I think is something none of us expected. But I don't know. I think these two teams, I think OKC and Denver, they're the best 2 teams in the West, in my opinion. And I think it's definitely not going to be an easy ride against Minnesota. But I don't know. I think whatever team wins the series is going to the finals.
And Julius Randle, too. I mean, side note for the Timberwolves, he's actually been playing pretty well in these playoffs. I know things kind of went south with him with the Knicks, and he got injured last season, and then obviously gets dealt off in the Towns deal. But he's played a pretty big part for them, obviously, being the number 2 on that team, and he's been pretty consistent so far. So going into a matchup against the Thunder or the Nuggets, that is one player that's going to have to, keep that up if they want to have a chance against those teams.
Yeah. So honestly, I think it's been a fun playoff so far. I've been seeing a lot of people complain about it. I don't really know the deal with that is. But obviously, I wish Pistons were still in it. I mean, after we're seeing what the Knicks are doing to the Celtics right now, I think the Pistons could have had a decent shot. But Mike, before we're going to get into the Lions schedule here in a second, I just want, because I haven't watched literally one swing of the PGA Championship. Catch me up a little bit, because it's looking like I'm looking at this top 5. Man, I'm not seeing any, because I would call myself a casual when it comes to the tour, and I'm not seeing any very recognizable names.
Yeah, I mean, you have a few. You got Max Homa, Matt Fitzpatrick, and Scotty right there at the top 5, and then Bryson, I want to say, is like 3 under, just below them. I mean, 2 shots back of them. It's just been like a really weird week, because I think people like underestimated the course coming into this and what clubs they could use. I mean, even Rory and a few of those guys talked about it, how like their driver would help them out so much on this course, and it's basically drive the ball as far as you can go and then take it from there. And some of that has kind of like came back to bite them in the ass, because some of these lies, some of the greens, no matter what it was, that really hasn't worked out for the most part. So I don't know. It's coming down to a crazy day, or crazy last 2 days. Like you said, there's really not too many of those notable names that you would have expected to be chasing the PGA Championship. But you still have Scotty locked in, minus, he's 5 under, and he's played some pretty good golf, and he's had some mistakes where, they were self-inflicted and whatnot, and he could have easily not made those and been higher up. So there's still a good chance for Scotty. And, if not, there's still, like you said, there's a lot of guys that people, the casual golfer isn't recognizable to, and, they might get the first major. So.
Yeah. What's the deal with, where is it? Quail Hollow, like in North Carolina or something? What's the deal?
Yep.
What's the deal with that course?
So I don't know, like, obviously I've never played it. I'm not too familiar with it by any means, but a lot of the holes you could use your driver on, and there'd be more of an advantage, and then you'd be left with like a short chip shot. Just put yourself at it like in a perfect approach shot, and then as long as your putts are going, they said you should be fine. And it quite literally hasn't been the case. I mean, I'm trying to find. I don't even know. I think Rory's like 1 under. He started out plus 3, and he was the one that was saying that these would all be advantages to a player like him, and it's kind of went south so far.
Yeah, well, I'm looking to put on a pretty fantastic performance today myself, Mike.
Yes.
Hitting the links, playing the good old Glacier Club. Excited for that. And okay, you know what? I just want to get something off my chest.
All right.
And then no free ads, but when you're at the course, you're going to enjoy, a few drinks, Mike. And
a few.
The comeback of the look, I'm going to say this again, no free ads. The comeback of are you familiar with the Bush Apple?
I am familiar, but I will say I don't drink it. Like, I'm not one of those people as soon as it comes out, like you did last week, that runs to the store and buys like 330
What are people
racks.
doing, Mike? What are people doing? It's not that good. Can we say that? Can I get that? It's a literal cult, these people that drink it. And let me say this too. If you, Mike, and I'll say this, if you were walking around with like again, no free shout out, like Red's Apple Ale or whatever, people you'd get a funny look. But when you're carrying around a Bush Apple, you're fine.
I get what you're saying.
I mean, get that off my chest.
No, I feel the same way. I don't really get the hype out of it. I tried a few, didn't really stick. Like I said, don't understand the craze over it.
Yeah, neither do I. But
Caleb, let's get to this Lions schedule.
Yeah, let's do it. First glance at this schedule, Mike, I thought, going into we knew what opponents we were going to face. There are some tough some tough stretches definitely in this schedule. You get, we'll kind of just go over it right now. You get week 1 at Green Bay. I love that matchup. The Lions are 3-0 at Lambeau in the past 3 years.
And you avoid playing them towards the end of the year when it's cold as shit out in Lambeau. So I like it.
Love it. Then you play Chicago at Ford Field. Ben Johnson returns. That's going to be a big time game. I honestly can't believe that game wasn't in prime time. That should be a primetime game. I feel like.
No, yeah, I mean, with all the hype leading up to like the schedule releases and whatnot, and the tweets and all the yada 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 that the teams were dropping, I did think it was going to be the Bears.
Yeah, and then so week 3, Baltimore Monday Night Football. That's a cool one. Then you beat the Browns by 50 in week 4, and then this is where it gets like this stretch of the schedule right here, week 5 to week 11, is a gauntlet. You get Cincy on the road, Kansas City on Sunday Night Football in Kansas City, Tampa Bay on Monday Night Football at home. Then you get a bye week. Good time for a bye week right there. You come right back.
All right, wait. Before we get past the bye week, I want to stop. What do you think? And chat, put your answers through those 7 games before the bye week. What is the Lions' record, or what do you think it should be?
Okay, I'm not just saying this as a fan, but this is no research really went into this. Kind of just from what I know and vibes, really. I have them starting 4-0. I think they beat Green Bay, beat Chicago. I think they pull out a win against Baltimore, and I think they beat Cleveland. Now it gets a little bit interesting. I think you drop one of these games.
I think you drop. Go on, sir.
I was going to say probably Cincy. I think the Cincy game is the one you drop. I think you beat Kansas City. You've beat Kansas City and Kansas City before. That Tampa Bay game, I think it's going to be tough, but I think you win that one too. So I think you go into that bye. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6-1. I think that's. What is that? Not the right math?
No, it is. No, it's just funny. I honestly, I think it would be like 5-2. I was reading something too, but no, I think they would be at least 5-2, and I'm kind of right there with you at that same instance. I think they drop 2 of them. I think 2 of those losses will come from the Ravens, the Bengals, or the Chiefs. I think they'll probably go, they might like split some of those games. I am a little worried about the Chiefs, kind of that rematch back in Kansas City. And then you did say the Bengals. The only reason that I'm a little hesitant to say the Bengals is they always start out so slow. And I'm a Joe Burrow guy. It's just, since he's gotten there, obviously he's faced some injuries at the beginning of the season at times too, but they have never started fast or whatever. They're always starting slow. So I'll give a little lenience from that game, but the Ravens and Chiefs, those games still worry me a little bit. Obviously, you're playing, 2 of the top 5 teams in the NFL, and then, both are away games. So, yeah, and
I want to, like Marcus says, Goff is a road warrior. Goff 8-0 on the road in 2024. The Lions were 8-0 on the road in 2024, and that's important. And I do understand that this road schedule, and we're going to finish going over the schedule in a sec, but this road schedule, dude, let's just go over the road teams. Green Bay, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Washington, Philly, Rams, Minnesota. So every team besides 2 teams you play on the road made the playoffs last year. But this team's ability to win on the road, it just gives me some confidence. Like 8-0 on the road, it doesn't matter what teams you play. That is extremely impressive. It's not an easy thing to win on the road in the NFL. And the way our fans travel and everything, we've had some games where it felt like almost like home field advantage. So, again, I know this road schedule is really tough, and it's going to be a gauntlet, but I'm confident in this football team and winning some of these road games. But Mike, after this bye week, so remember, you go Cincy, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, you get your bye. Then you play Minnesota, who I've talked about my thoughts on Minnesota this year. I think I think people are underestimating Minnesota. I think they're going to be a really good team. You play that
McCarthy.
You play that game at home. Then you play Washington on the road, and then Philly on the road. Dude, that back-to-back weeks, that is tough.
That's like where it gets me throughout this whole schedule. Like I can deal with some of these, the Baltimore away, and then you come back, play Cleveland, and then you go play Cincy. Even Cincy and KC back-to-back, it's just those back-to-back road games are really what's going to not be like a killer in their schedule. I guess you could say that, but that's going to like define a lot.
Yeah.
And like how their season ends up turning out is those back-to-back road games against, two stud teams. You get the NFC and then you get the AFC back-to-back. So,
yeah, we're really going to see kind of what this team, is all about by week 12, because you're getting the Baltimore, Kansas City, Cincy, Tampa Bay, Washington, and Philly game out of the way, and you get 3 divisional matchups during those games. So you're really going to see what this team's all about. But I'm excited, man. And if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And if you're able to beat these teams on the road, you're set up for a pretty successful season. But after Philly, you play New York at home.
Hey, that's my birthday. Play
Happy
the Giants
birthday,
on
Mike,
my birthday.
in week 12. Happy
Let's
birthday
go.
to Mike in week 12. Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Let me do something.
Early
for you,
birthday.
Mike. Let me do
Week 12.
What's a cool one I could do here? Well, let's do this one for the culture. It's the first one I saw. Happy birthday, Mike, in week 12. And then Green Bay, Thanksgiving. Love that matchup. We get last time we played Green Bay on Thanksgiving, we dropped that one. So I'm excited for a little revenge game there. Thursday night football against Dallas at home. Finally get to play Dallas at home. That's going to be a fun one. Rams, Pittsburgh. And Mike, here's the one I just I don't know how I feel about it.
The
Minnesota
Bears?
on Christmas.
Oh,
And I get it. The NFL's trying to steal viewership from the NBA on Christmas. I don't think traditionalist is the word. I think it's more of like I guess it is. I like tradition, and
it's the
NBA
NBA.
basketball is tradition on Christmas. How do you feel about these Christmas games, man? Because last year they sucked.
All right. One, they did suck last year, but these are different matchups, and I think they're better than last year's in a sense. Could I have done without it? Yes. Will I still watch the Lions, obviously, on Christmas? Will I not be locked in over the terrible 5:00 basketball game or whatever it is at that point in time? Yes, I will definitely be locked in. Does it suck for the Lions reporters, workers, the players, all that they don't get to spend time with their families? Yes, but I will still be tapped in, Caleb. And I know you will be too. No one does anything on Christmas besides sits around and watches TV anyways. And half the people don't even like watching the terrible basketball games that are on. So I'm all for it. Whatever. I'm going to lock in. It does suck for a lot of people's situations, but for me, I'm going to be locked in. So.
Well, it is bullshit, and here's why it's bullshit. And Anzalone kind of tweeted something about this. Oh my God, Coach Walk, I didn't even realize this. Okay, what if the Pistons are on Christmas Day at the same time the Lions are on? The Pistons could be a Christmas Day game this year. They could. They definitely could. Shout out Coach Walk for tuning in. But yeah, I didn't even think about that one. That's going to be a little dilemma because if the Pistons are on TV on Christmas Day, you got to watch it. But the Lions are always first priority. But it is bullshit. Anzalone did tweet. He's like that, and you saw a couple players tweeted like, "Dude, what the fuck? Like, you gotta we're playing. They're playing on Thanksgiving and Christmas, dude. Like, I get it. Like, and this goes for reporter. This goes for like us too. Like us reporters, blah blah blah. And don't get me wrong, I love watching some football, man. But Thanksgiving and Christmas, that's especially for the players, man. When they're traveling all the time, whatever. I don't know. I'm for the players. # for the players. That's me. So, Roger.
Yeah, I get the whole Christmas thing, but the Lions always play on Thanksgiving. So when you play for the Lions, you kind of know that ahead of time. It's not changing just because you always play on Thanksgiving. So I get that point, but for doubling up, but you always play on Thanksgiving. So
very true. But I'm for the players, Mike, and everybody knows that. Hey,
the players are half the time they're hype about Thanksgiving. Now that it's doubled up, they're like, "Nah, what the fuck?" But so I get it.
Well,
I get it though. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. They have families.
I would love to, behind closed doors, off the record, talk to like a player that plays on Thanksgiving for the Lions, and I want to ask him like, what do you think? Like, do you like it? Like, do you like playing on Thanksgiving? Obviously, there is like a different environment, around it and everything, but like, I don't know. I think that I think what majority would say yes, but I think a couple would be like, I don't know. Like, it's fun, like the environment and everything, but it's tradition. I don't know, but man, I'm excited. That it's a tough schedule, like we said, but I mean, this is a good football team. And like I said, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And, we get some fun games in there.
And right now, we may have the best center fielder in all of the MLB. We might have the reincarnation of Aaron Judge in the last week and a half, you could say. Javi Baez is back. He's officially back. I mean, 3 homers in the last 3 games. I want to say it's like 9 or 10 RBIs, Caleb. The guy is just lighting it up. I mean, you can kind of see like the confidence, definitely oozing out of him. And, he's taking advantage of any rep that he can get out there. He's filling in center field. He's making great plays. He making some crazy at-bats. I mean, okay, that homer yesterday.
Dude,
that was so high in the zone. That was so high in the zone. Oh my God. It's just like the confidence level to drive a ball like that. The swing didn't even like look right in an instance, but he fucking smashed the ball. So like, I have no words, and I have already put my hand up and admitted to how many times I've slandered this man. I thought there was no, and yeah, there's a large group of people that have been the same, but holy hell, man, I give him props. It seems like every time I am watching the Tigers, every time I check the scoreboard, Javi Baez is making a play. He's making a clutch hit. He's hitting a homer. He's doing something. So
can I show you something, Mike? And this is how to really show if you're all in on something or not.
Oh, he did it. He did it.
My screensaver has been the same. It's been a black screen for the past probably 3 years. It's now Javi Baez. Because I'll tell you this, Mike, this guy, I mean, this is one of the best turnarounds I've seen in baseball. I mean, this guy, and there's not much I could say that hasn't been said before, but he was the worst player in baseball for the past couple of years. It was looking like, you look at like the Chris Bryant contract, you look at the Javi Baez contract for being some of the worst deals just in MLB history. And this guy, Mike, he's become just a straight up winning baseball players. You can make an argument that yesterday Javi Baez, I mean, there's been a couple games this year that Javi Baez is the reason you won that game. You look at that game yesterday, Mike. He makes that fantastic diving play in center field and throws a frozen rope to first to double him up. And then he hits it. Then that homer you were just talking about, 107 off the bat, 408, 408 feet. It was a nuke. He's on fire. Mike, he's got the 3rd lowest chase rate in his career. He's got a 307 average and an 855 OPS. And like when Javi Baez comes up to the plate, it feels like something electric is going to happen. And every time the ball is hit in his general direction, like you feel like something electric is going to happen. And man, it almost choked me up listening to it when AJ Hinch was talking about Javi Baez. Man, he's a great guy, and this is it was just a matter of time that something was going to click here. And you heard Scott Harris talk about it as well, like the offseason work he did, closing his stance, starting his hands a little bit lower. You just hats off. Yeah. Hats off. And the discussion starts, Mike, like you have Parker Meadows coming back. Like he's starting to throw the bases and stuff. Like, dude, what do you do if you're the Tigers?
That's what I was going to ask you. But side note, before I get into that, that's what I was going to say too. The little props to AJ Hinch, Scott Harris, and also Gleyber Torres, because I know he's been on the side mentoring, being buddy with Javi, and sometimes stuff like that makes a big difference when you get, kind of that extra little care, I guess you could say, in the locker room and teammates looking out for you. But shout out to Scott Harris and AJ Hinch for believing in him. And, obviously they went through a shit ton of bad times and having to trot him out there. We're getting questioned for everything. Obviously it wasn't so good at that point in time, but when you see it kind of all work itself out in hindsight, you got to give those guys a lot of props. But no, that was also what I was going to ask you is, like, you still have Trey Sweeney. He's been playing pretty well at short. Obviously, yesterday I want to say, he was 0 for 4, but
happens.
He's been playing pretty well, and he's been hitting the ball well and playing well at shortstop. And then, like you said, you have Parker Meadows coming back. So, like, what do you think the plan is in that instance? Because obviously you can juggle these guys around. You can take, give some guys some off days. And like Greg says here, it's a great problem to have, but
Yeah.
You're not obvious. You're not playing Javi in center field over Parker Meadows. Like Parker
Mike,
Meadows. Okay,
Parker
Javi
Meadows
has
was
been
our
great,
guy.
but Parker Meadows is like, in my eyes, one of the best,
No,
if not
say it.
the best
He's
defensive
the best
center
defensive
fielders in
center
the game.
fielder.
Yeah, like there's nothing. Yeah.
Here's the thing, Mike. We saw the quick transition Javi made from not, and this is what we talked about with Chris last week. He didn't just move from, he did play a little bit of third base, but he's not just making this move from short to third or like short to second. He made the move from shortstop to center field. Do you know how fucking difficult that probably is, especially in the major leagues? I'm very, very confident when Parker comes back, you can slide Javi Baez to right field and maybe want to, DH Carey a little bit more, maybe DH Riley a little bit more, just to keep them off their feet a little bit because what they do at the plate. Javi Baez would be an elite right fielder. An elite right fielder. We saw what we could do. He has a cannon arm. He's athletic as hell. And just his feel for the game. I think he could really play anywhere. Like a play I want to talk about that happened yesterday that just kind of shows Javi's baseball savvy and his feel for the game. Like I said, is that play. I forgot who hit it, but it hit off the top of the wall, right? And, sometimes you see, especially with young outfielders, they try to go up, make the diving play on the wall. He sees it immediately. I'm not going to get to this. I'm going to play it off the bounce of the wall. Hits the top of the wall. They call it a home run. Immediately after they call it a home run, he's like, nope, that did not go over, blah, blah, blah. That's just knowing the game. And, I mean, he saved the Tigers a run yesterday. That's just having that baseball savvy. And, I think – but, I mean, it's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have. And I mean, you even talk about when Vierling comes back, or when Sel Perez comes back, these guys have reinforcements coming back and some things are going to move around and everything. But Javi Baez is not a player you could take out of the lineup right now. And I swear to God, if I would have went back in time and heard myself say that Javi Baez can't leave this lineup, I would have been like, what the fuck is what? Man, this turnaround.
It would be a mistake to definitely take him out of the lineup right now with the confidence that he's hitting. And before we move on to our next Tigers topic, I can't bring up comments, but
what do you got?
Super Bowl Cartier it says good for Riley. He's he is hitting his way out of his slump, and he's been unreal the past 4 games too, and back-to-back homer games. So shout out to Riley Green because there was a lot of questions about him, how he was starting off the season and, how many strikeouts he had through God knows how long, but he's really turned it around too. And Riley Green's an all-star. So, I mean, there was a lot of questions about him, but he worked himself way out of those and got right back on track. But
I think since April 17th, Mike, he has a 997 OPS, which I think is the 7th highest in baseball. Yeah. He is one of that homer he hit last night was that, and they said it on the broadcast. He is sneakily very, very strong. Yeah. To get that ball the opposite way on a pitch low and away, that's a tough thing to do just to get the correct launch angle to get lift on the ball and get it over the fence, man. He's a special hitter. And that's kind of what I'm saying. We got to keep him healthy. We got to keep him playing 150 plus games. So if you have to DH him more than usual and throw Javi in the outfield, I would do that because Riley Green, man, he's a special player and he should be an all-star this year. I mean, he's been really unbelievable. And that's kind of just how baseball works. And that's why baseball is such an awesome game. It's this guy had a stretch where he went 1 for 32. And now he's back up to a 280 average, 11 homers. That's why baseball is the best game in the world, Mike. It's why it's the best game in the world. But we're going to make a little trend. Go ahead.
You said we have some, we have some good problems to having all these players on the roster. One player that, just got sent down wasn't particularly his fault. I think it's just kind of how things are going with this team right now. Is Jace Young. Mm-hmm. And there's been, some rumors that that's going to be the guy you kind of ship off and maybe acquire something at the deadline. You know, he holds some value there. And I also heard, I want to say it was, I don't know, was it Buster Olney? They were talking about Nolan Arenado being
John,
the
Heyman, yep.
Oh, it was John Heyman, sorry. But they were talking about him being the perfect fit, you know, for the Tigers. And I brought that up to Chris, I think 2 weeks ago, not last week, but 2 weeks ago or whatever. What do you think the deal is? What do you think, how does that Jace Young situation fizzle out? And do you think maybe Nolan Arenado would be a good piece? Obviously, you have Bierling coming back. He can play third, but Nolan's one of the best defensive third basemen this league has ever seen. And obviously his hitting numbers haven't replicated of what he played when he was in Colorado, but he's still been pretty good for the Cardinals in a sense. And he could definitely, you know, he's a bat they could use, and they could definitely use him defensively. Not like they've been bad at third defensively, but when you have a lockdown player like that, I mean, it's a different story. So
now, Chad, I do want to hear your thoughts about this, and I because it's definitely an interesting topic. Because you know, Jace Young, he was a very interesting prospect. I was actually talking to someone, Noah Beanick, shout out, who I'm actually going to probably have on the show here pretty soon. Big college baseball guy, and he said coming into the league, like it was hard to kind of have a prospect ranking of Jace Young because he was a really good player, but when you compare him to his brother, Josh, Josh was like a superstar. Jace was just kind of a very solid player, but he was a player we were all excited for. And I mean, he had a 356 OPS, you know, before getting sent down, a career 554 OPS. And here's the thing about Jace Young is, and one thing AJ Hinch and Scott Harris have done a really good job with, especially with the young players, is giving them opportunity. And you know, we got to see some players, you know, go through some bad spells, but then turn it around. But as you get better as a baseball team, and as you your foundation starts to grow, and you have some positions kind of lock up for the future, the leash for these young players start to get smaller and smaller. And I think that was kind of the case with Jace Young. Like, you can't have him, as much as we'd love to see him sit in this lineup and develop and learn from his mistakes and everything. You can't have that big of a hole in your lineup when you're competing for an American League pennant, which is upsetting. I mean, he just doesn't, I don't want to say he doesn't fit the timeline right now, because there is somewhat of a youth movement kind of going, you know, through the Tigers.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? We can't just have him sit there and hit 111 for us when we're trying to go win it. And the most upsetting thing, I think, for me is he's going back down to AAA, where he's had a lot of success. It's just the major league level he can't figure out. So what else does he have to prove at the AAA level? And so, you know, to your question, would I package him in a deal for Nolan Arenado? It's hard to say. Maybe not necessarily Nolan Arenado. I am, and Chad, I am curious to hear your thoughts on this, about just trading Jace Young in general and packaging him in a deal. I don't know if it would necessarily be for Arenado, like you said. I think I'm on the train of, man, if this team just gets another high leverage reliever, like a back end reliever, like that's disgusting. Obviously, you're going to add some bats here and there, but in you know, in terms of packaging Jace Young in a deal, I don't know if I would do it for a guy like Arenado, even though he's a great player.
Yeah, and it's all understandable. Like I said, I just heard them talking about that on ESPN or whatever it was. But like you said, I think no matter what, they have to at least kind of go in and add someone. I think if you're playing this well, obviously first team to 30 wins, like Coach Walk said, you're going to go into the trade deadline, and obviously we talked about a good problem to have. They just have players everywhere, and obviously there isn't a fit for all these guys. I think it would just be a failure to at least not add another bat. Obviously, you weren't able to do it really, besides Gleyber Torres, which he's been phenomenal signing. So I don't want to say but he's been phenomenal. But they need to add another bat. I think it would just do wonders in the playoffs, getting another veteran bat in there. Not that like this team hasn't experienced the playoffs, because they've been there now, but it would go a long way.
Yeah, well, Greg, I do understand like not wanting to trade him, but I guess my question would be to people that wouldn't like to trade him like in a deal. What is your plan with him? Because like I said, he's proved that he could hit at the minor league level. So what are you just going to have him be a really good 4A ball player? Like, are you just going to have him go have an 840 OPS in AAA, then call him up for 35 games every year and hit 100? You know, like I said, like you can't really have these guys just sit there and be a hole in your lineup. And he's the first player out of this wave of the young talent, like the Justin Henry Malloys, the Trey Sweeneys, the Wenzel Perez's, you know, those guys where I think some people would classify them maybe as 4A ball players, which I disagree with when it comes to Wenzel and Justin Henry Malloy. I think they're both very good. I think they could both play at the major league level. Jace is the first one where it's like, and Greg, you're like in-house players. Yes, that's fantastic. You want to do it the right way, but at the same time, you got to let some of these guys go. You know, you got to trade them now while they have some sort of value, because there is value in Jace Young. Because I'll say this too, one of the biggest, you know, I would say, you know, negatives for Jace Young when he was coming into the majors was his fielding at third base. He's been tremendous at third base this year.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. That adds some value there, right? So I think you could get a good player for Jace. I think if you package him in a deal, I don't want to package him in a deal with like the Justin Henry Malloys or the Wenzel Perez like that, obviously. But I want him to get his opportunity, man. I just don't necessarily think it's going to be here, like you said. Like it's a good problem to have, but we just have a ton of guys right now, man.
Yeah.
Like where is he going to play? So if like I mean, so what's would you trade Jace Young? Like, what side are you on?
No, I mean, I would. Obviously, it has to be a fitting trade. I'm not just like giving him away. It has to be a guy that can come in the lineup, no matter if it's a reliever or if it's a bat. And obviously, you're going to have to probably package a few guys. You're not going to be able to just give up Jace Young for one of these guys. But the deal has to be right. I think there will become a time when all these guys come back and they are healthy. There'll just be too much cooks in the kitchen, and you won't know what to do with some of these guys. So if you could offload some of them and improve your team for this playoff stretch, I would do it. But I understand the sense of people like Greg, I think it was said, just kind of let the young guys grow and then just build your team within, kind of like the Lions have been doing, and you know and the Tigers have been doing actually. But honestly, I don't know. I think if the deal is right, I would do it to improve the team. Is there anyone, like, this is what I was going to ask originally, one pitcher and one hitter that is on Caleb's wish list?
Right here, Drake Miller hit it on the head. Ryan Hensley. I mean, if you had a Ryan Hensley to the back end of this rotation, man, you mix him in with a Will Vest, Tyler Holton, and a Tommy Canley. And you even throw guys in like Chase Lee and these other guys, Brant Herter and Brennan Hannafy. I mean, you're talking about a top 3 bullpen in all of baseball. Shout out Drake Miller. Hensley's that dude, man. And if for hitters, I don't know. It's hard to say right now because you don't know what players are going to be up for grabs. You saw a guy yesterday in Bo Bichette just hit a homer off the Tigers. Is he going to be available? But what's this? Because he's a free agent after this year. So, but I mean, they just paid Vlad, so they're going to try to create more of a foundation. I don't know. Hitters, it's a little bit more difficult, but pitchers, Ryan Hensley's that dude. But Bo Bichette, I mean, he's a good player. But then here's the thing, Mike. It's like, do you remember do you know the whole discussion where it was like the reason the Tigers didn't want to add, you know, players at like in the offseason was because how do I describe this? Like they were confident in torque, right? So they didn't want to add a first baseman. They were confident in other positions, so they didn't want to add, you know, a big time free agents because those positions were considered blocked, you know. Yeah. And I asked Chris this the other week. How do they feel? How do you think they feel about the shortstop position and Trey Sweeney? Do you go add one? Like, do you get a shortstop? Like, is Trey Sweeney your guy?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question, because, you got Trey Sweeney for, just basically like a rental to end the year, and he ended up panning out. And now you fast forward into this year, he's playing great baseball, and like he's made clutch hits. He's playing well at shortstop. So I don't know that one. Honestly, I have no idea, because you could really go both ways. You could say, yes, I could improve on this position. I'd never thought Sweeney was going to be the long-term guy. So if there's an opportunity to improve right now, let's do it. But like, you could look at it as he's been playing this well thus far, and he's like, gotten, a year and a half now in with the team, and, he might've found his spot. So who knows?
Yeah. And Wraith says it here. Wraith Darkflame. I mean, that's the coolest fucking name I've ever heard. Shout out Wraith Darkflame. I'd hate for him to go be an all-star somewhere else, but it might be a change that he needs to take. Yeah. I mean, I always want to see these guys succeed, especially a guy in Jace Young, who, I mean, he was an excellent player in college. Like I said, he's excellent in the minor leagues. I just want to see him get an opportunity somewhere else. And yeah, man, it would suck if he went somewhere else and he was an all-star. But I don't know. I'd love to see him go somewhere else. And Mike, and I know it's far away, but I mean, you kind of have to talk about it. We've already been talking about it. Like, this trade deadline is going to be so fun, because there's no chance in hell that we're not buyers. Like, it's going to be so fun. It could get interesting, dude, because like, we have these players. I mean, we have like Glaber on a 1-year deal, Canley on a 1-year deal. So like, do you see maybe some like extensions that happen at some point? Like, do you see a Riley Green extension? Do you see a Scooble extension? That's something I don't know if we have time for it today, but Mike, the Scooble extension, I want to talk about that a little bit more, but it's going to be a fun, summer for the Lions. Yeah. I mean, the Tigers.
Yeah, no, even with like the Lions, you could say they have been at that position to be able to buy at the deadline. The Pistons, not really so much. And even the Red Wings, they've been in the position, but they really haven't done it. This Tigers team right here is playoff bound already, this early into the season, you would say. And they are going to be one of those teams that is terribly hard to beat in the playoffs. So to say that they wouldn't be buyers is insane. And it's going to be exciting. But Caleb, before we get to our top 5 list, which we'll skim through that pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. The Tigers play today, 3:07. Reese Olson's on the mound. Do the Tigers make it 5 in a row, Caleb?
I got to check the pitching matchup. Give me 1 sec. I got to see who's
Reese Olson versus Eric Lauer. Lefty.
I mean, yes. The short answer is yes. I like these lefty lineups that AJ Hinch has been putting out. Like having more confidence of guys like Carey and everybody, even though Carey's really struggled against left-handed pitching this year. Yeah, I think they do. I mean, Reese Olson, I've said it many times before, he's one of the more underappreciated pitchers in all of baseball. And for a Toronto Blue Jays team that you don't get much swing and miss from, I'm really curious to see kind of Reese Olson's approach to getting outs. Is it similar to Flaherty, where you're kind of just pitching to contact yesterday, even though he got his fair share of Ks? But I don't know. Reese Olson, man, I think he's going to throw a gem. I think the Tigers make it 5 in a row, get to 31 wins. And I saw someone in the chat. Let me find this real quick. Oh, Greg, Torque hits a home run today. I'm feeling that. I feel that vibe. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Could be due.
I mean, that's another guy, man. He's been and this is one more thing about the Tigers. And I don't know if I said this last week, but this is what makes this Tigers team so good. You get in the beginning of the year, Mike, where you have, Torque and McKinstry and all these guys in their hot streaks. And then you have other guys, that are cold. You get the Javi Baez's that are cold. You get Riley Green, who went through that really bad stretch, but they had other parts of the lineup picking them up. And then you see now, right? Torque goes cold. Now you have Riley that's scorching hot. Now you have Baez that's scorching hot. Now you have Glaber, who's the best hitting second baseman in baseball right now.
For real.
Like that, we haven't seen yet, and knock on wood, it could happen, because baseball's a funny game and it could happen, but we haven't seen this lineup like in years past where the entire lineup just goes cold.
Yeah.
There's always at least 3 or 4 hitters in this lineup that are scorching hot. And that's how you win baseball games. When all 9 go cold, you're fucked. But when you have 2 or 3 that are slumping a little bit, you have other guys that are picking them up. And that's why they're such a good team, man.
And I think a lot of, obviously, that credit goes to AJ Hinch, like you said, because he's been mixing up these lineups. I mean, if you took a look at the lineup yesterday, it was like every other hitter was a lefty or righty. And like the man's a mad scientist, and he always puts out a lineup that, is built for success based off of what the opposing team is going to throw out pitching wise. And it's just unreal, man. He's
the best manager in baseball, Mike.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people, like, when they think of baseball, they think, oh, you're just throwing a lineup card out there and you go left or right when you want, a lefty or righty reliever. And no, it's way more than that for AJ Hinch. Like, he is a madman. Like, his managerial decisions, like, noticeably win us a ton of ball games. Like, and Chris Castellani, man, a friend of the show, we've mentioned it a couple times already, but
it's our goat.
The way he described it yesterday, like during his post-game video, was perfect. If any other manager threw Bo Brisky in to close that game out yesterday, we would have lost. But AJ Hinch just has this fucking black magic type thing going on, and he's putting this team in the best positions to win, and that's what makes our bullpen so good. And Mike, you want to talk about one of the walk-offs this week? We had Torque and Justin Henry Malloy on the bench, and he chose Justin Henry Malloy to go up against Aroldis Chapman. That's like big-time stuff right there. That's big-time stuff. And he is the best manager in all of fucking baseball.
Yep. And even the Tigers Twitter questioned that decision, and it paid off. So just don't question the man. He's a mad scientist, like I said. But Caleb, it's time. So we're gonna do this every week. Normally we'll do it before mailbag, so we can still get your guys' questions, but we're gonna do a top 5, and it is not always gonna be about sports, just so you know that. This could be top 5 random things, no matter. We might let you guys pick the topic for next week, but it's always going to be a top 5. This one, we are going to start off pretty basic, and it is going to be the top 5 Detroit athletes in your eyes. It can be different. It's not.
My list is the only correct list, and I think, Chad, we're going to get a little vibe of that as this show continues when we do a top 5. My list is always going to be correct every single week.
Yeah, we will see. But Caleb, do you want to do the honors, or should no? You know what? I'll say
we're gonna go 5. We're gonna go your 5, my 5, your 4, my 4. Let's do that. And
okay,
can I throw a couple
honorable mentions? Come after.
Do some honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions come after, and you get 2.
I get 2 of them.
Yes.
Okay. Fine. All right. So this is top, and we're gonna have Mike. We're gonna do this. We're gonna get some graphics for this in the future too. So this is top 5 current, and again, comment what top 5s you want us to do in the future, because we're going to do one every week. Again, doesn't have to be sports related, like Mike said, but this is our top 5 current Detroit sports athletes, because there's a ton of good ones, and just where to rank them. That's where it gets a little bit controversial. Mike, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
So we're going 5 down, right?
You're going to say you're 5. I'm going to say 5. You're going to say 4. I'm going to say 4.
Okay. All right. Number 5, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay. That's funny because I also have Amon-Ra St. Brown on this list. I mean, he is the numbers he's put up, Mike, you can't even – he has 3 straight years with 100 catches and 1,000 yards. One of the best receivers in football. That just shows how many great athletes are in Detroit. I made this list earlier in the year, and I think I had Amon-Ra at probably 3, but things have changed. Who's your 4, Mike?
My 4 is no other than Caleb's guy, Cade Cunningham.
Okay, this shit's going to get a little bit weird, chat. So my 4 is also Cade Cunningham.
There we go.
My 4 is also Cade Cunningham. Putting Cade over Amon-Ra, that just shows how good Cade is.
That step just happened this year. And the playoffs, obviously Cade had some stretches where he can close games and whatnot, but he was
Mike,
unreal.
I'm afraid we have the same list. Can
we
say number 3 at the same time?
All right. 3,
all right, ready?
2, 1. Aiden Hutchinson.
Gibbs. Oh. Okay. You have Hutch at 3.
Yeah. Hutch was about to win defensive player on last year. He's by far, maybe him and one other player that I can't say yet. They are the most valuable players on the Lions, injury or not. Hutch is probably top 2 defensive end in the league, top 3, whatever you want to put it. Him, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, it's him. It's him. He is top 2 player on this Lions team. So,
yeah, I had him, and I'll just say now I had him at 6. So I have Jahmyr Gibbs at 3. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is the second best player on the Detroit Lions. I think he's a top 3 running back in the NFL. Every time he touches the ball, you have no clue what's going to happen. This guy's prolific. He's exciting. And as you can see by my list, I have him over Amon-Ra. So I think he's the best offensive player on the Lions. ARF, this is top 5 best current Detroit athletes, by the way. But yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs, number 3. Your number 2, Mike?
My number 2 is the best pitcher in the MLB.
Nope, I'm not doing it. There should be no Mike. I love Penei Sewell, and I have Penei Sewell at 2. Mike. There should be no list. No. There should be no list. For Detroit sport, there should be no fucking list where Tarek Skubal isn't number 1.
Caleb, if Penei Sewell got injured tomorrow and the Lions didn't play without him, they would not even be. You would not be able to fix that offensive line. I think it goes unnoticed. But hey, this was my hardest one, so I get it. I had a tough time, but I just think Penei Sewell is. I don't know. I just have different feelings about him compared to different athletes. The guy is fucking unreal. But I am a Tarek Skubal psycho too, just like you. So it hurt me a little bit. But I have Tarek Skubal at number 2. And then obviously you know who my number 1 is. It's Penei Sewell.
Yes. And look, Penei Sewell is, I think you can make an argument that he is the best. He's probably a top 5 player in football, right? Tarek Skubal is far and above the best pitcher in baseball. And I'm not here to discredit our guy, Penei Sewell. He is, I have 6 Penei Sewell jerseys. I mean, he's that dude.
You have 6?
Tarek Skubal, I got 3.
Okay.
But
times by 2, 6.
Yeah, times by 2. Tarek Skubal won the Triple Crown last year, and he's by far the best pitcher in baseball. And I think you can make an argument that he's a top 5 player in baseball as a pitcher.
Oh,
I mean, this guy. But okay, Mike, I will say this.
See, that's the problem with these lists because, like,
It's
I
hard
put
to
Tarek
weigh.
Skubal at number 2, and it's a problem. It's just like kind of, your flavor and what you think because it makes it sound like you're making it sound like I hate Tarek Skubal. I guess this
Bust
guy
your
up on a
chops,
weekly
Mike.
basis. I guess him up on a weekly basis. I know he's the best pitcher in the MLB. But
Before we finish up here, can I rattle off my 10 through 6? Because I have some Red Wings on here. I want to hear your thoughts.
All right, I only have 2, but I only picked 2.
All good. I want to. So I got at 10. I got Lucas Raymond. 9. I got Riley Green. 8. I got Dylan Larkin. 7. I got Kirby Joseph. 6. I got Aiden Hutchinson.
Personally, if I would have put Mo Sider in there too because he carries the Red Wings sorry ass defense by himself and he's like 20-some years old.
Don't be mean.
And then I also had Riley Green. And so,
He's a dog.
Yeah, Riley Green, Mo Sider are my honorable mentions. Lucas Raymond would actually be up there too, but
yeah, I got him at 10.
He's been unreal.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Another fun show on Saturday mornings with Crunch Time. Make sure to tune in the Tigers today, man.
Hey, 5 in a row.
Yeah.
Hey, Caleb.
This is a good one right here. Wraith Darkflame from the club. I mean, this guy with the coolest name of all time. Top 5 Detroit sports moments in your lifetime. We could definitely make a list of that,
right,
dude.
I'm gonna write that down.
Write that down. Yeah, we're definitely gonna do that. That'd be a fun one. But thank you everybody for tuning in. Tune into the Tigers today, man. And you see the hat right here. Go if you're a fan of country music and how country music is made. I know a lot of you are, and it's kind of a niche thing, country music, but I'm a fan of it. And one of my best friends lives down in Nashville, started a podcast. He does a lot of he interviews songwriters and singers from down there. It's very interesting stuff. A lot of cool stories. So go subscribe to Podunk Perspective and definitely make sure to subscribe to Crunch Time Sports. We're here every single day, or I guess Monday through Saturday, live. And make sure to buy your merch. Follow us on all our socials. Follow me and Mike on our socials. And Mike, say something nice to the people before we head out here.
I hope you all have a great Saturday. Go Tigers. Caleb, I hope you have a great round on the course. I hope these conditions. Looks like it's still a little rainy, a little wet outside. I don't know.
Affect me, man.
I mean, when you're a dog, you're a dog. So Caleb, have a round. The rest of you have a Saturday rather. Appreciate it.
Peace out, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.